Hello, hello, hello. Just Ron and I to preview Columbus and Orlando City this Saturday. Dennis Chin is going to try and hop in. He's having some computer problems right now. We've waited a while for him, but we need to get started. So if he hops in the middle of this, you've been warned. If not, I'll probably do some kind of question and answer in a separate video with him. So we have Columbus coming up. They on the 23rd. So that's on Saturday. We're recording this late Wednesday night. Columbus has been terrible. They're in ninth place with 18 points. They haven't won a home game since May 28th. They haven't won a game in their last 7, except for the Open Cup game. They kicked in the Rowdies' teeth, which is fucking awesome because I hate the Rowdies more than I hate Columbus, but only by a smidgen. Anyway, so they're led by Ola Kamara with 9 goals and Federico Higuain with 3 goals and 3 assists, and they traded Kai Kamara away, a couple weeks ago for target allocation money. So that's our opponent. Last year when we played them, we went 1-1-1, and I think we beat them in Open Cup, so maybe it's 2-1-1. But I know in MLS play it was 1-1-1. I know the games got really chippy, and we almost formed a rivalry. So, you got any other thoughts about Columbus, Ron, before we move on to Orlando?
Well, obviously they've been really bad, like you stated so far this year, but they're actually not that dissimilar to Orlando City. Columbus at home has been they've only lost 1 game at home, but they've only won 3 of them. They've lost 1 and they've drawn 6. So that should sound familiar, as Orlando City's won 3, lost 0, and drawn 7 at home. So both teams are kind of similar in that regard. On the road, both teams are miserable as well. Columbus is 0-6-3. Orlando City's 1-5-3. So there's really not a lot separating these teams. And obviously Columbus traded away Kai Kamara in what was surprising. It doesn't seem like they would be getting any better when they do that kind of trade. But they did have another Kamara ready to go who's actually picked up the pace and is in good form right now. And I think he's a player we definitely have to look out for.
All right, and I know the last thing I know about Columbus is that their defense is about as bad as ours. So I don't know if you guys think that's possible or not, but apparently we might see some of that. They've given up 2+ goals multiple times this year, so I'm excited to see. I think that they'll probably come out in a 4-2-3-1. I know Clark is their keeper, and their defense stinks. And I mentioned there are other 2 players. I think they have Will Trapp also. That's all I really know about Columbus. I'm not even going to try and front other than what I just looked up to give you guys a little something. So as far as Orlando City goes, this will be Coach Jason Kreis's first game. He got hired yesterday. Ron, what do you think about the hire?
Well, I think it's something we have to give some patience and some time to. He's going to instill a very different system than what we're used to. I don't think he'll probably go into the diamond formation that he's known for right away. I think he will, like he said on his Twitter Q&A today. He said he's going to mold his formation to whatever players we have best, and I think that's the right thing to do now. I think he's kind of in a honeymoon period where he's just trying to salvage the season. If we can make the playoffs and he can do something, and he'll be treated like a savior almost. I think next year is when we'll really see his stamp on the team. But what I'm personally looking forward to is I feel like Orlando City is going to have a definitive game plan going into every week. Where one of my biggest complaints with Adrian Heath over the past year and a half was I felt like Orlando City never came into the game with a game plan, or never really had the ability to change style, tactics, formation, whatever it may be in the middle of games. I thought Adrian just played his way, and he hoped the other team adapted to it. Now I think we have a proactive coach instead of a reactive coach, and I think if you need to go on the road to a team that's better than you, like Dallas, and scrape out a draw, I think we have a coach that can try to figure out a way to do that. Right? I think with Adrian Heath, I don't think that he knew how to get a result out in a place like Dallas. So from that perspective, I'm excited about it. But I don't. Will it be as entertaining soccer? Some people care about that. They want to see a lot of goals. I don't think it will be. I think it'll be more defensive style, which I'm perfectly fine with. I I would much rather be in Colorado Rapids' position right now than Orlando City's position, even though they don't score a lot of goals. So that's my quick take on Kreis, but obviously it's a wait and see.
Okay. Um, I am. I wanted Heath to just finish and make the playoffs and not even have to address this, but that's obviously not what's going on. So that's just my quick take. Also, I'm a little bit concerned that our front office might do some of the same as what New York did to him, where they're just going to force him players upon him and hope that it works because we saw that he couldn't get results with that last year. So I really hope our front office doesn't do that to him. But part of me does think that they will. So
yeah, as much as we need to have patience with him, like you said, the front office has to have patience with him as well. You need a couple years to really, especially when they're going for a drastic change. Most coaches play a 4-2-3-1. If Columbus fired Greg Berhalter and we brought in Greg Berhalter to be the new coach, he plays a pretty similar style to Adrian Heath. Not a lot would change. Just it would pretty much just be a different voice in the locker room. But this has the potential to be a cataclysmic change for Orlando City. It can really differ from what we've seen for a long, long, long time. So for that part about it, I'm excited. But there's still. I don't think there are a lot of pieces on this team that fit what Kreis wants to do long term. Maybe only 3 or 4 players that are really his style. Yeah, and I might be being generous there.
Yeah, I think that you're kind of being generous. I think it's probably only 2 or 3, and I think they're all right up the gut too. So I mean, maybe 4 if you think Molino's going to stay, if you think they're going to keep Molino. But if you're looking at it big picture, I think obviously you have to keep Laren, and then moving backwards, you keep Molino. And then I think Higuita or Seren, I don't think we're going to be able to keep both. I think that Kreis is going to want somebody more defensive than either of them. So I think one will stay and one will go. And my inclination is it's probably going to be Higuita is going to go because we just locked up Seren long term. And then in the back, I think Tommy stays. And then I think after Bendick's recent performances, he stays. So in my opinion, it's 5. I could see Laren going just because we're getting all these big numbers thrown around. So take that away is 4. And then whatever with Molino, I don't know how you can get rid of Molino. I kind of think he's the franchise player right now, other than Laren.
Absolutely, I think with Kevin Molino, he's the one player that you can on this team that you could fit in any type of system. There's always a place for Kevin Molino. He's so versatile and can do so many different things that there will be a spot somewhere for the new coach. Laren, like you said, if he goes somewhere, if we sell off players like Laren and Higuita because we can get something for him, then so be it. But I think that bottom of the diamond, that center defensive mid role that will be so important at some point, I don't know that we have that player. I think the player that actually fits that Kyle Beckerman type role the best is Servando Carrasco. I just don't want him to be the key player on Orlando City long term. I just don't see us being very good if that's the case.
And I don't think that he is the key player long term. I have nothing against his game. I think it's tidy. I think it's good. I'm really happy that he's our 3rd defensive midfielder. Oh, Dennis is here. Great.
Yep.
Hey, nice. We got it to work. So just to fill you in, we're talking about Kreis and his system and how it's going to fit in Orlando. Just talking about the bottom part of the defensive diamond, how we think Carrasco's tidy, but not the best player for that role. So you could just jump in. What do you think about the new hire, and what do you think about the players we have to fit his system?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously, Jason is a very well-known coach in the league. He's done a lot, and to be fair, when I played in Orlando, we used to, and with Adrian, we used to talk about how similar our styles of play were when he was at Real Salt Lake. So I think it's a close enough fit to what Phil and Flavio them are trying to look for to build a very good, obviously, youth academy, and they have good young players, and I think it appealed to Kreis well, and that's why they brought him in.
All right, and we kind of just touched on our basic knowledge about Columbus. Do you have any basic thoughts about Columbus that you'd like to fill in?
Well, obviously, they're not having the best of seasons compared compared to last season, but obviously that's how the league is. It's a tough league, so you know what I mean. Sometimes teams that you think will be running the table have a bad start, and then things, little missing pieces here and there, go wrong. And I don't know if it's in the locker room or what it is, but you never know. Teams at the bottom sometimes can start rolling, and like obviously Orlando last year started getting on a roll and almost made the playoffs. So you never know.
All right, and so that brings us to where we are today. I thought we played pretty good versus Vancouver. We had a nice effort. Ron, you want to just tie up any thoughts about Vancouver?
Well, I thought they played hard. I thought they played with a lot of passion, and they played for each other. And a lot of the quotes reflected that after the game. I think we needed a performance like this because I think they've been kind of a lost cause the last few weeks. I think Vancouver took them lightly. To Sheridan starred, and I don't think Mane played. So they thought they could skate by Orlando a little better. But it was huge to get a point. I thought on this 3-game road trip, I thought if they get 3 points out of 3 games, that'll be amazing. If they get 2 points, that'll be pretty good. If they'll be 1 point, it's about all I've expected. So the fact that they can go into Columbus still, and if they grabbed a win, they could exceed my expectations. It could be a really good road trip, and under some really tough circumstances with the interim head coach and all the turmoil going on around the club.
All right, Dennis, did you get to see any of the Vancouver game?
Yeah, actually, I watched quite a bit of the game. So, yeah, I thought it was a pretty good performance. I played in Vancouver this year, so we got beat in a Canadian Championship semifinal. So I know how hard it is to play there, and so for the guys to go in there with the pressure, obviously, and all the things that's going on off the field, and to get a result, it's pretty good.
All right, and that brings us to our away game versus Columbus. Ron, we already kind of started to touch on it. Do you think that it'll be the standard 4-2-3-1 from us?
I do. It's Bobby. Isn't Bobby Murphy coaching this game?
I don't know who's coaching this game.
I think I read that he was still going to be on the sideline this game. I don't see any point in changing the formation all of a sudden. I think they stick with the 4-2-3-1. They're actually relatively healthy and off suspension now. Obviously, Redding's going to be out, which is a big blow to the center backs. But everywhere else, besides Rafael Ramos still being out, they're healthy and they can play what they feel is their best team. So whether that's Shea on the left and Molino on the right and Kaká slotting back in at attacking mid, they will have all the pieces that are what we thought this team could be really good with. So, Columbus is susceptible. I expect it to be a high-scoring game. Both teams have weak defenses, so it'll be an entertaining affair. I have no idea which way it's going to go.
All right, and Dennis, how are you feeling about Orlando this week? What do you think we'll see?
I mean, I'm hoping because obviously, like I said, it's so much has happened off the field, but I think the guys now is so much to play for a new coach. You have to impress. You know what I mean? You have to show, hey, like maybe I wasn't the guy in this last system, but maybe I can be the guy now. So I think there's a lot to play for in Orlando, and I think they could come out. I think it'll be a close one, but I would want to say it'll be like a 2-1 Orlando game.
All right, and Ron, what's your score prediction? And then you can boogie, and I'll talk to Dennis because I know you got to go.
Well, my prediction is going to be 2-2. Orlando City just doesn't generally win on the road, but I do think they have every chance in the world to win this game. But I think it'll be high scoring. It'll probably go back and forth. So I see a 2-2 draw. I want to ask Dennis a question real quick before I leave.
Sure.
He kind of touched on it just a second ago, but the question was going to be, as a team full of soccer players, when you get a new coach like that and you have the same pieces and you're going to probably play the same formation for a while, is it like you said, is it just trying to impress the new coach to where you can get better effort out of players? Is that the only way to turn around what, Christ is going to be working with exactly what Heath was working with. So can that be a big factor, just a different voice in the locker room?
Oh, definitely. It definitely plays a part because sometimes in the locker room, especially when the games have been close and you're not getting those results. Like you said, we've seen like last minute goals and stuff like that. So people start looking inwards and saying, "Hey, what's the reason?" You know, what I mean, I'm trying hard in training, but and then you start blaming outward forces. Now, when there's fresh blood and there's new blood and everyone's starting on the same foot, there's no outward sources you can really blame except for the fact that there's a transition of coaches. But now everyone wants to prove that, hey, I'm the new guy to take over, and hey, I need to show this guy that I'm the one to earn this spot. So, if anything, I think it's gonna give a boost to the team. And obviously, there's gonna be a little, disorganization here and there at first because you're trying to see where this coach is trying to, like, how he wants to play, etc. But I mean, it's the same pieces, but the players are gonna have, like you said, a different voice, so it's gonna be more motivational. Even if the voice is wrong. Even if it's not what you want to hear, you still think you have a chance at first to be the guy. So you'll still play harder.
All right, Ron,
Thanks,
you
Dennis.
satisfied? There you go.
All right, see you.
All right, thanks, Ron. Bye now. All right. So you got in. We filled you in on the match preview. Everybody, say hello to Dennis Chen. We have 2 live viewers right now. So anyway, so Dennis, I want to know what you think just about the way things went down with Coach Heath, and maybe not what you think of Coach Christ, but more of in retrospect, as someone who played for Coach Heath for a long time. And probably knows him personally. Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, this is football though, but it's very tough because Adrian was the coach that found me out of nowhere. No one else, like saw me, and he basically took me out of Rollins College and said, "Hey, this is the guy I want to," and he made me into a player, and I'm still playing because of him, and I've learned a lot because of him, and I think he has brilliant football knowledge. But the pressure was always on it, like you said. Like, there's a new ownership group taking over and everything else. So you have so much to impress, and we were used to Orlando. We're used to winning every single year, and you make that jump. People expect you. Oh, you bought Kaká, you bought this, you bought that.
All right. Well, I think Dennis is gone. All right. Well, maybe I'll give it a second. Anyway, all right. I'll just make a question and answer with Dennis. He's back.
Yes. All right.
Oh, okay. No worries.
No worries. But yeah, it's the fans, everyone expects winning, and you got that year last year when you almost made the playoffs. So I think he was. I know Adrian is one of the most passionate persons I know, and he wants to win. So it was a big blow seeing those losses and seeing the team not maybe do what he expected it to do, and maybe that played a part in what happened, and obviously it did play a part with what happened. But I think he's a brilliant coach, and I think wherever he goes, I mean, it's almost like a breath of fresh air to be like, all right, now I can, like, whatever the pressure's done, I did so. He can look back and say, I've done so much for the city, I've done so much for football in the Central Florida region, and he's cultivated players just like me that have a lot to thank him for. So I think once he looks back and see, hey, this was not for nothing, and now I can, like, find a love of the game again, and find and start coaching and developing more players, and you know what I mean, find a different niche, I think he'll be okay. But obviously it's a blow for him because this is his new home, you know what I mean? So I mean, that whole thing is messy. It always happens in all sports, but it's when someone's been such a, like, patron to the city, you don't like to see it happen like that. You want to see it happen on his terms, except for it. But that's business and sports.
All right, and then this is my last question for you, and we'll jump into the fan questions. But can you tell me what was your favorite, like, memory or story of Coach Heath that related to you directly?
Oh man, I for one was the most talked to and yelled at person in everyday life of Coach Heath. He yelled my name more than anybody else. So we used to have bets, especially the first year, like around 2011. We used to have bets. People used to have bets every day on how many times you'd say my name in training. And there's literally used to be like prizes, and every time anything happens, Chinny, 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 it just rolls off the tongue. So I mean, that's probably my favorite thing. I used to hear him say that name all the time, and looking forward to seeing him hopefully soon when I come back and having a drink with him and seeing if he'll yell that name again.
Nice. I'll drink with him. Okay. First fan question from Chris Dustin. He said, "Can you please ask Dennis about Chindamin Franklin and his best OC pre-match pep talk?"
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. So we used to rotate who does the pre-match pep talk sometimes, which players will like pep the team up. And I went off on a tangent and called myself Benjamin Franklin and Martin Luther Chin. And went off on a whole spiel on how we're gonna win the games and how many games we played in how many days, and people started it wasn't even like motivation, it's basically jokes, and we ended up winning the game. So I can't say anything about that, but it was a classic moment.
Okay. Next question is from Facebook, and it's from Julie Morgan Thompson. She wants to know, have you and Becca set a date yet?
No, not yet, but we'll see what happens. I'll say hi, Julie, because I'm a big fan of Julie, and she's a start.
Team mom, she's awesome.
Yeah.
I always joke with her about that. Okay, next fan question is from Joe Campo, and he wanted to know your favorite moment in an Orlando City uniform. I think you answered this question last year, though. He should have been watching then, but anyway.
But I know, like, sometimes you have a year extra to think about it. I think my favorite moment, obviously, I think 2014 finals was my favorite moment. I just remember how loud it was in the Citrus Bowl, and the atmosphere was brilliant, and just lifting the cup with the team, and just the way that game went was one of the driving forces to why Orlando has MLS today. So I think that's one of probably my favorite moment for Orlando.
All right, Mauricio wants to know, what are you up to these days other than playing soccer?
Ooh, what am I up to these days? I've been playing a lot of games, video games these days. Enjoying the life in Canada. This is a whole different thing. I've never been anywhere this cold, but right now it's very good. It's very good right now. But obviously, I'm in the capital of Canada, so trying to explore a lot. And when I get back into Florida in off season, hopefully I get used to the heat again.
And you went from here to Arizona and now to there. So can you what are some other differences other than just the weather? Like, are the people different? I mean, I think the food's much different too, right?
There's a few differences. Obviously, currency, but yeah, the weather is different. But right now, it's very similar to today. It was like 85 degrees and sunny. I mean, it doesn't storm as much as it does every day in the summer in Orlando. But the big difference was preseason when it was like feet of snow, and I've never seen that before. We have to train indoors all the time, and it was miserably cold. But now it's great. But obviously in Arizona, it was you go from 115 degrees to -20. It's a little bit different.
All right, and let's see what else. I think we got one more. The president of Ruckus wants to know, what is your favorite chant? And I think you answered this one last year. Dennis Chin, right?
Wasn't that what you said last year? Believe.
Yeah.
I believe in Dennis Chin.
All right. So I was close. And I think that is, let me just double check. I got two screens up. Campo's telling a story. Yeah, that's all I got. So how's the season going for you? I know I saw you had a goal the other week. I think you have a couple assists or something.
It's been rough to be fair because
Okay.
we have a pretty good team, but it's just getting all the pieces together in this transition. There's been a lot of transfers in the NASL this year. It's pretty interesting. A lot of big moves. It's almost like a European transfer market these days. So yes, so the team has been like together in our hands, and we're still figuring out what the best system to play for our team is. So it's been very transitional year, but it's been all right.
All right, and then this is it. This is, I promise, this is my last question.
Oh, no
When,
problem.
when you play Tampa, do you still hate them because, like, you had such a heated rivalry when you were in Orlando, like, and now you play them regularly, right? You're in the East, they're in the East.
Yeah, to be fair, I've never lost to Tampa Bay until this year. We lost 1-0. So it was different. It's different because a lot of those guys recognize me from Orlando days, and we have a little banter. But yeah, obviously still not a fan of them. Obviously I have the purple in my veins, so can't like him and until that's done.
So it does carry over.
It does carry over a bit.
All right, all right, and that's all I got. You got any questions for me, or you have anything else you wanted to talk about just generally?
Uh, I was just saying how you guys liking it, that how great the atmosphere has been at the games. You know what I mean? I know it's the results haven't been the best, but I was there for the after the post shooting games, and it was the atmosphere was fantastic. It was great, and obviously it was such an emotional day in the stadium, especially. And that was the first game I've been to since I haven't been on a team, so it was
Oh
impressive.
wow.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. But yeah, I was wondering how do you think the culture has transitioned from the USL days to
Oh, okay. Well, people who follow the channel know this about me. You obviously don't, but so in the USL, I was like a hit or miss fan. And when they were in their last year in the Citrus Bowl, I was starting to get really into the team. But I'm completely biased against the Mouse. So when they went to Disney, I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't go to Disney. Like
yeah,
I don't do that. So the end, I like whatever followed a little bit, but from, I guess that would put me at 2013. So from 2013 to last year into this year has been a huge change. The fan base has grown, and you get some people who are obviously just bandwagon MLS fans,
yeah,
and then you get people who are diehard fans from USL through and through, and then you get people like me who were hit or miss fans, and then got to MLS and was like, okay, this is awesome. So
yeah.
I think the atmosphere in the stadium is really awesome. I mean, 30,000 people is incredible. I'm not a real basketball fan at all, so I never go to Magic games. So to have a professional sports team at the top level in the country I think is great for the city. But I think it's been going good. I have immersed myself in it, as you can see. You follow me on Twitter, and it's probably
Yeah,
I'm probably the most annoying person that you follow with all
I
my
don't mind.
match preview, this and that.
Yeah.
I like feel bad about it sometimes because I'm like, oh, people are like, oh, who
But
don't
it's not the
always.
only person like that I follow, so I get to see it often, and it's good to keep up with it every now and then.
Yeah, so that's yeah, and I think next year will be another even a bigger culture change, because now the Citrus Bowl and before it the Citrus Bowl, and even from what I gathered about Disney, is a tailgating culture in the fan base.
Yeah.
Everybody goes out before and tailgates, and then next year there's supposedly not going to be any tailgating.
Really?
Yeah, they're saying that everyone's going to have to park downtown and walk.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
yeah, so I think it'll be another, and now with a new coach, it'll be even a bigger shift into next year. So I'm just a fan. I'm not a pro. I'm not a coach. So I'm the dude with the camera and a ruckus scarf.
Exactly.
That's it.
Keep
So
it simple.
yeah, keeping it simple, exactly. But anyway, if you just want to say bye, we'll conclude.
Bye. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, dude, you're more than welcome to come on anytime you want.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time. I know you have other obligations and to spend, whatever 20 minutes bullshitting with me about Orlando City is much appreciated on my end. It's above and beyond of you, so thank you. But that's all for my time, guys, and all for Dennis's too. So peace out.